In workshop 2, we're going to develop the theme that you started to think about in workshop 1. Mine was global warming. So relating to whatever your word was, I want you to start to gather some imagery. This could be digitally on your phone or your computer, or it could be that you've printed things out or you've got things in books. You then gather these images and you have a look at them. So you see here I've got a mix of different things in terms of texture, including posters that could potentially go onto t-shirts, that kind of thing. And also colours are starting to come to the fore as well. So I want you to think about how you could develop some of these textures relating to your theme, or develop some of the images, for instance, like I'm saying with t-shirts or things like that. So start to play around. One of the things I had in column 1 was colour, and I want to just show you how you can develop colour. So what I've done is I've gathered some colours that relate to my theme. Remember, I had the idea of blue and red, hot and cold, and the idea of contrasts and extremes, and I've gathered them together here. Now, students often have a real problem with how to use colour, so I just wanted to show you a quick tip. So when you're putting colour in your sketchbook or thinking about how you might use that in a design, don't space the colours apart. Always put the colours on top of each other or side by side so you can see how they relate to each other. And that'll give you a clearer idea about how you can use them in your designs. Another good tip is to develop them like this. So if you see here, I've used exactly the same colour palette for both of those, yet they look completely different. And this is a way of working that will show you how things might then transfer onto clothes. So if you can see here, I'm thinking actually the majority of the garment's going to be in blue, and then the trousers would be in hots, in reds, and so you have that clash. And so the proportion I've shown by just cutting smaller or larger bits, and how it overlays. Again, if it overlays, I've overlaid it. If it doesn't, I've kept it separate. But start to think about how that might work. Then what you need to do is you move on to column 3. On column 3, remember we had the more abstract words. So on there I've gone back to the idea of cracked earth, and I've started to develop some of those. So on here what I've done is I enlarged that picture, and you could just trace or freehand draw it if this is something that interested you. And then I've started to draw around the cracks. Let's move these out of the way. Draw around the cracks of the earth in order to get some of these weird and wonderful shapes. And these are going to be the starting point for one of the things I'm going to do in the next session. So that's what you need to do now. Just start to develop some of your ideas, some of your colours, some of your shapes, some of your textures.